Hi, and welcome to the Chronedo podcast, the show where we talk about watches, business, and life. In today's episode, I'm joined by Mitch Barber, founder of the Subdial.com. The Subdial is an independent online watch magazine focused on storytelling and Mitch's personal perspective on watches. We talk about why Mitch started the Subdial, his approach to writing, and why personal opinion matters in watch media. Before we start, I recommend you to check out the Subdial.com. It will make this conversation even more interesting for you. Let's get started. So I would like directly start with my first question. If you had to pitch the Subdial to a watch lover who's never heard of it, what would you say?
I think the Subdial is an unpretentious exploration of watch culture, business, and everything else. I started the Subdial because I felt a little bit intimidated by all of the other watch publications, I just wanted something that myself could explore as a novice watch enthusiast, and I wanted everyone else that would read my writing in my website to feel comfortable enough to be there and not feel excluded in any way. So, I think it's definitely a comfortable place for everyone to explore watches, basically.
But would you say it's an online magazine or a blog, kind of that, or where would you put it?
I think it's an online magazine. I think I used to call it a blog, but I think it's grown to a little bit more than that. It's a long form online magazine. So I tend to focus on mainly watches that I like. So it is a very positive place. I never talk about watches that I don't like because, to be honest, Ken, I can't write about stuff like that because, the words just don't come out. So I pick things that I really love and I'm really passionate about, and that's what I write about. It's not so much about being critical or overly analytical about the industry. It's more what I really appreciate and what I find quite exciting, and I pour all of my energy into that. And it's very much a storytelling based platform as well. It's not so much, it's not a place where you go to find, like case dimensions or pricing or stats in any way. I feel that the best place for that is the brand's actual website. What I like to explore is the stories behind the watches and more so the people behind the people that make the watches are the most interesting to me.
You write about the story, the founders maybe, and about your opinion, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think how some people say that they're very unbiased and they can present a very balanced view of the watches they talk about. I can't do that. And I don't really believe that anyone is completely unbiased, because of course
that's not possible.
We're human. We appreciate things in different ways than other people, and we have opinions. So I think for me to try and write in a way that's very balanced just wouldn't be true to me, if that makes sense. And perhaps if I write something that somebody else doesn't like, I think that's what makes this community so rich, is because we can have these different opinions, and I've chosen to put my opinions on an online magazine, and I think that's what makes it a bit special. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to just regurgitate the press release that the brand would send me. I really want to put my own thoughts and feelings and emotions into there as well, because as I said before, I can't be unbiased. I don't think it's possible.
And what's the process of writing an article?
So I have to have a connection to it. It's something that I get excited about. So I usually get press releases from all the brands and all the PR agencies for everything new that comes through. And if something catches my eye, I'll look into it and I'll research. And I mean, me as a watch enthusiast, and I'm sure you're the same, I'm always looking at Instagram and other websites, and I'm very much focused on the industry. So if I see something I really love, I'll be like, oh, that's something I want to write about. It doesn't have to be a new release. I'm very slow. So I'm never going to be the person that gets articles out when the watches are released. Like for example, I've just finished writing an article on the Parmigiani pocket watch that came out, I think December last year.
Yes.
And I'm only just going to post it tonight. And this is like, I'm not a part of the news cycle. So it's very slow. But yeah, I choose a watch to write about, and it probably takes me about 3 weeks to write an article. Because it takes me that long to kind of truly understand what I'm writing about. It's not, I want to kind of feel it fully before I can kind of communicate how I feel about it. So, and that takes me a little bit of time. So, I write about something. I usually try and communicate with the brand a little bit, but not very much. I'm a very small publication, so I think I'm quite invisible to most of the brands. But to be honest, I kind of like it that way as well, because it gives me the freedom to kind of to say what I want. And yeah, so there's no schedule to it. There's no, plan really. It's very free, and that's how I like it. Because I find if I try and put deadlines on things, then I can't communicate in the way that I want to. And sometimes I'll write something, then I'll leave it. I won't publish it for a week or so. I'll write something else, then I'll go back to it, and then write about it then, and then publish it. So it's a very free thing, and I don't think I could have it any other way.
And do you also sell these articles to agencies, PR agencies?
I think my style of writing doesn't really suit the kind of advertorial side of things. Like, because it is so opinion driven. And even though I'm quite often very positive in my articles, I think it's not very commercial. Which is what I like.
How often do you have really the watch in your hands when you write an article?
Never. I think because I'm in Australia, so it's a very far away from Switzerland, or wherever these watches come from. So I think it's sometimes I will go to the boutique and try one on while I'm at the boutique, have a look. But the watches that I tend to write about are more unique, kind of niche products, which we don't really get in Australia, to be honest. Like, we have Patek and Rolex and
the bigger brands,
Vacheron and the bigger brands, but we very rarely see the smaller, more niche independent companies here. So honestly, I'm just kind of going off what I see online, and I watch videos, and I try and consume all this content, and then I kind of translate that into my own voice. Don't get me wrong, I would love to get sent watches to put them on wrist.
If friends want to send you watches,
please,
then do it.
I'd love it. But I think it's a big commitment for a brand to send a watch, halfway around the world to someone that's very much unknown to them. But yeah, I think, to be honest, it would be easier for me to write if I could have the watch in hand, but it's just not possible.
And when did you start it with the Subdial?
I started end of 2023. So I was working just in watch retail at the time, and I kind of started it because I wanted to kind of have a connection to the industry beyond just selling the watches. Because I mean, like a lot of people, I couldn't really afford the watches that I was selling. I was selling Rolex and Patek and AP, and I really loved them and was lucky enough to be able to handle them a lot at work. But it wasn't really, I mean, I didn't have the opportunity to buy. So the only way for me to connect more deeply with the industry was to write about the watches and do research and look into the history and all that kind of stuff. So I started back then, and then I've been consistently doing it all the way up until now. And I mean, I don't have a huge amount of articles published. I think I've got like 74 articles online now. So it's taken me that long to write 74 articles, which is very slow.
It's a lot. If you do it alone and you really take time to think about these watches.
And like all of my articles, I try to make them evergreen. So I'm never kind of putting oh, the latest release from this brand is this, because I want my articles to live on for years to come and be relevant for as long as possible. So I don't do, like, as I said before, I don't do like, watches and wonders releases for 2025, for example. It doesn't really fit with what I do. And I don't want to spend all this time writing an article and then it's kind of irrelevant a few months later, you know?
And do you make money with your website?
I have like a display ad section on the website, but currently I just advertise my own newsletter. So there's no monetary income at this stage. I think with watch editorial, it is quite difficult to monetize it, because the whole point of the Subdial for me was that it wasn't exclusionary in any way. Like I wasn't excluding any particular demographic from the content. So it's kind of hard for me to put a paywall up and make people pay for it. I don't really want to go to that route. And the other way you can do it is, I guess, brand partnerships, which you have to kind of be at a certain level of traffic and then there's
you need to have some numbers, some subscribers or whatever.
And then the brands can kind of dictate a little bit what you say. I mean, I've worked with brands in the past for like manufacturer visits. Like I went to in 2024, I visited the Beauvais manufacturer, and that was really great. And they gave me a lot of access and stuff, but there was never any money that changed hands. And I kind of want to keep it that way because I want to keep it a little bit more pure. And
I like that.
And if a brand wants to pay me and for whatever reason I don't really like the product, I don't know how to juggle. I don't know how to juggle that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm too honest.
Yeah, but I think that's valuable for the readers, you know.
Yeah.
And you also have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, just started one. And I'm dipping my toe in the YouTube world. It's pretty intimidating. I'm sure I'd love to get some tips from you because you've done so well. I think it's hard for me to translate my kind of very opinionated communication to a YouTube sense. So I'm learning how to do it. And just doing like an interview format. Like there's a few people that live close by that have started watch companies that I'll interview, and there's a few people cool. in Switzerland as well to do this kind of format. But the funny thing is I end up talking more about their personal lives than the watches themselves, because that's kind of where I think that's super interesting, because you can find out information about the watch elsewhere, but for me to talk to you, for example, like I want to know you as a person, because that helps me understand your watches or your company. Does that make sense? And that's kind of that's the human connection that I really appreciate. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's early days. I think I've got like 17 subscribers, which is not very many, but we'll see how we go.
And where's the name come from? Subdial?
Honestly, it was just something that popped into my head one day. I was thinking,
it's cool. I like it. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish there was a more interesting reason, but I think I was thinking of like just what to call it, and I was just looking at watches and thinking, oh, do I call it like Crown, or do I call it the Link or the Caliber or something? And I think the Subdial just sounded right. Really, I think it's short, it's easy to pronounce, it's relevant to the subject matter. Yeah.
And I forgot the question. What is it?
That's all right.
I wanted to ask you, do you still work in retail?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have to pay the bills.
But you still sell watches?
Yeah, I'm still in the watch industry.
Nice.
Just in a retail setting. I work for Vacheron Constantin, which is really nice. And just do this on the side. And I've got 2 kids as well. My kids are 4 and 7, so I usually go to work, get home, look after the kids till I go to sleep, and then and then it's time to write.
How did you get into writing?
I mean, throughout school, I always enjoyed creative writing, but it was never something that I thought about like I would just do for a living.
Mm.
And I used to, when I first had my first child, I would write like a little journal about and the struggles I was having and the wins and the losses and all that kind of stuff within that journey. And then I had a little blog about fatherhood. It was called Dad Mode.
Cool.
And it was really cool. And literally no one read it. I think I had one person a week on the website or something like that. But that wasn't really the point, right? And then
it was more for you, right?
It was for me. And to be honest, in a certain way, the Subdial is still just for me. Like even there's more people reading it now, but I don't write for other people. I do it for me, which I think is kind of nice.
I like that because I'll do this conversation also for me. Otherwise, if I would like to make the podcast more popular, then I would have to ask different questions and to generate more viral content. But I don't like that. So I like to ask the questions that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, and to make so you get up every morning to actually do it. You have to enjoy it. And if I was to keep, because you can write articles in a way that is good for like Google search or like, now with like ChatGPT for ChatGPT search and all that kind of stuff. But to write in that way, it becomes quite robotic. And I don't think that's good for anyone, really.
Quick 15-second ad. Hi, I'm Ken from the Chronedo podcast. I want to let you know that you can join our community, the Chronedo Circle, for exclusive giveaways, behind the scenes, and key takeaways from every episode. Sign up for free at chronedo.com/community.
Even I'm sure it's the same with you with the YouTube stuff and the podcast interviews. Like I listened to your interview with Jean-Claude Biver, and I really appreciate how you didn't really go down the route of just talking about the watches like a lot of people do. You kind of really tried to understand him as a person, and it felt like that it was you that wanted to know that stuff.
And to be honest, sometimes maybe you also heard that when I ask you a question, the answer went into a complete different direction.
Well, and I'd love to hear more about what it was like to sit across from him, because he's such a huge figure in the industry, right? Like it must have been a dream for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it was really like kind of a role model because he, from the outside, he's like this innovation talent, this marketing genius. So it was really interesting to talk to him and to have this opportunity that he's taking time for that. I really appreciated that.
Lovely guy. I wrote an article about their brand Biver, and he messaged me on Instagram just to say, oh, he really liked it, and I was like blown away.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, really nice. That. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if his son or the marketing is managing his Instagram account. I'm not sure if he's... Who knows? I forgot to ask then.
Well, it wasn't the Biver one. It was Jean-Claude Biver, like his personal Instagram. So I think it was him. I mean, let's go with that.
Yeah, and he's really a humble person, I think. After the interview, we went into his office and he showed us some stuff and his preferred music.
But I think a lot of people in the industry are like that. Like, I think it can be quite intimidating looking at it from the outside. But everyone I've spoken to from brands like Beauvais and Max from MBNF, I've spoken to him a little bit. Everyone's just so lovely.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
That's how I stayed motivated to do that. The first episode was with Rafael Granito from Formex. That's a smaller brand here.
Yeah.
He was so nice and he showed me around the factory and everything. So that was really interesting. And the second one was Niklas Hirsch, from the Hirsch bracelet.
Yeah.
So, and he was really a humble person too and really nice. And I was like, wow, he's the CEO of this big company. They have, I think, over 800 employees. He took
Wow.
time. They prepared the sandwiches and they showed us around. So it was really like, I think they respect every person the same. And that motivated me to continue with the podcast,
Yeah,
So
well, that's awesome. When I went to Beauvais in Switzerland a couple of years ago, there was like I visited because they've got two different facilities. There's one that does the movement components from like blank metal bars until they do stamping and all that kind of stuff, and then there's the other one that does the finishing of the components and the completion of the watch. Basically, they put it all together, and we had to get a car from the first facility to the second one, and there was a problem with the car, like the van didn't arrive in time or whatever. Like that they had organized like a nice black Mercedes van, and the one of the marketing people had to drive me in their little like I think it was like a Toyota RAV4 or something, and they were like, "I'm so sorry for this car." I'm like, "I'm just happy to be here," like I don't, I'll walk if I have to. And they were just so accommodating and so lovely and were so focused on making sure I had a good time. But whereas I was just like, I'm this guy from Australia that doesn't get this opportunity ever, and I'm like thank you so much for, for letting me come into this beautiful place. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you're buying or whatever, but I find that so many people are just so welcoming.
Yes,
So
definitely.
cool.
And I think it's a small community, Everybody knows each other, the one CEO of that brand knows the other one. And things like so it's, I think, an interesting industry, but also a slow industry, I would say, I didn't knew anybody in this industry, and I've just wrote some emails, some DMs on Instagram, and they said yes.
That's how I went to Beauvais. I just emailed them. I wrote an article first about because they opened a boutique in Melbourne in Australia, and I wrote an article about it because I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! Like I've never seen this brand before." And then I think they sent me an email because they saw the article, and I was like, "Oh, I'd love to come and visit sometime." And they're like, "Oh, how about October 2023?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." And then I emailed a couple of other brands, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." While I was in Switzerland, I visited Remy at Crayon in Neuchâtel while I was here, and he was so welcoming as well. Like it's just amazing the access that people give you.
What I've also wanted to ask you: do you write posts on LinkedIn about watches?
What I usually do is I will write an article for the website, and then I'll pull kind of snippets out of that article and pop it on LinkedIn. I've done it a few times and gotten pretty good traction, but
I
to
think
be
so
honest,
that could work.
Yeah, I'm not very consistent, so I think
But I think that's really a thing that could work,
it's definitely something I need to look into. But with social media, I find it so difficult because I like to go very deep in
And you can't go deep on
it's Instagram or TikTok. It's like, the videos, 30 seconds long. I feel like I can't communicate what I need to communicate in that short amount of time. But I think you're right. LinkedIn's a bit different where you can go a little bit longer. But for me, ideally, I need 1,600 words to be able to communicate what I want to communicate. And like some people would read my writing and think, oh, there's too much, fluff in there, or there's too much, you're talking about your own life too much, or like in some of my articles, I talk about how my wife feels about the watch as well, which is totally unnecessary. I've had there's plenty of criticism about it. Like people say, oh, but you didn't mention the price, or you didn't mention that it's a 42 millimeter case.
You get comments like that, or how do you get them?
Just feedback. Like I talk to people and they give me like, oh, maybe you should put a bit more of this in your writing, or this a bit more of this, which I appreciate, but it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. But I think it just doesn't interest me. Like, I mean, yes, it's relevant. If you're trying to push someone to take a certain action from the blog post, like if you want them to buy something or or whatever. But I often feel like how you feel about a watch is much more important than the case dimensions or even the price. Like I feel like the price is even irrelevant sometimes because it's such a subjective thing. Like 50,000 Swiss francs for me is a lot of money, but 50,000 Swiss francs for someone else is no money at all. So it's do you know what I mean? Like it's hard for me to comment on that. If I say, oh, it's very expensive, but someone that reads it, that's like an investment banker in New York, they're going to read that and be like, what's this guy talking about? Like it's 50,000 Swiss francs, not much money at all. So yeah, it doesn't make sense for me to do that, I think, anyway. Plenty of publications do put pricing and that kind of stuff on their articles, but it's just if you want to know that information, just go elsewhere. But if you want to kind of feel something emotionally about the watch and learn something like that, I think that's where I can add value.
Yeah, and I think 1 week ago I bought a watch magazine, a printed one.
Yeah.
I was just curious to see what's in there. It was like 14 Swiss francs, and I was like, what? The half of this is like ads from brands, and the other half is kind of non-paid ads. So what is it, There are for sure good magazines out there.
Oh, for sure. But I think you're right. Like, it's just the same information that's reorganized in a different way, in a different format, but presented, and then they charge for it. Doesn't really make sense. But yeah.
Yeah, and I was surprised. One photo was really blurred, in a bad quality.
Oh, really? I mean, and that's I guess another reason why I take so long to post an article. Like I kind of obsessed over it a little bit. And if I'm not proud of it, I won't put it up. So.
And which watch was your favorite you wrote about? Can you remember one particular watch? That's a hard
one. That's because it's different every day. I've been wanting to buy something substantial for a long time, and I talked to my wife about it, and she's like, oh yeah, which one is it today? Which one is it this week? Like, I'm always like, oh, I think I'll get this one. No, actually, wait, no, I'll get this one. But I think one standout is, and this is something that I've actually tried on in person. I was in London and I tried it on. The Parmigiani Tonda PF, the micro rotor no date with the gold dial. Just a gorgeous watch. Not super flashy at all. It's an integrated bracelet steel sports watch, which is kind of a bit of a cliche. Everyone kind of wants one of those, but you put it on and it's like skin. You know what I mean? It's just so soft. Have you tried a Parmigiani on before?
No.
You have to. You have to. It's incredible, and it's a micro rotor, and there's like a guilloche pattern on the dial, and it's just like unbelievable.
That's probably an article about them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So I'm gonna read that one.
Yeah, I'll send it to you after this. I was in London, and I went to a watch boutique on Old Bond Street and tried it on because you can't get them in Australia. There's no Parmigiani boutique here. But that's probably the one at the moment. That's the one anyway.
Do you also travel to these watch events like Dubai Watch Week or Geneva?
I haven't yet. I haven't been to either. But I think 2027 will be the year that I kind of branch out and do that.
Why 2027?
I've got young kids, and I think that's the time. They'll be just old enough where my wife will be able to kind of, handle okay without me for an extended period of time. And I think I would love the Subdial to be a little bit more established before I go over there, and a little bit more well recognized from the brands, so I can kind of, because I want to build these relationships with the brands, and I want to see the people over there, and be invited in to kind of the inner circle of the watch community, if that makes sense. Like if I go now, I feel like I'll just be going as a member of the public.
Yes.
and I guess it's a bit of an ego thing for me. I kind of want to be on the inner circle a
Yeah,
little
but
bit to have
makes
that
sense. Yeah,
access.
and then you have the interesting conversation.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think.
So my goal now is to just build up the Subdial, build up the traffic a little bit, and really develop my own particular voice, and then hopefully that gets recognized by the brands, and I can kind of get a little bit more access to tell those stories. But yeah, I think 2027 is a good year because it's already mid-January, so
Yes.
it's like it's getting like Watches and Wonders 2026 is coming up pretty soon. You know, you know.
So,
Uh,
what's your plan? How you're going to grow the Subdial? Do you have any
I think
plans for that or ideas?
yeah,
Maybe.
the main thing for me is just to try and get a little bit more consistent. I think
Mm-hmm.
and put more content out. Um, Obviously, yes, grow the YouTube, but I always want my core to be the written content, because that's me personally. That's what I enjoy the most, and that's um, it's probably the hardest form of content because it's. I don't know if you've done any writing, but there's nowhere to hide. You have to kind of because you can kind of review it over and over again. If it's not right, it's
Yes.
it's um it's you can't put it out. So and it's for me because it is so personal. It takes a lot out of me sometimes because I'm writing all these personal stories about like my family and my wife and like my kids and my struggles and relating that to watches and stuff. So it can be quite difficult, but I think the main thing for me is to make it a little bit more consistent, put more articles out, and then um, even kind of convert those articles to videos in some way. I need to focus on social media a bit more because I feel like it's the biggest way to grow this kind of audience. But I like your idea of LinkedIn, so I'm going to start pushing that a bit more as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because if you're good in writing, there is the place.
Yeah, it's super interesting. The one thing I want to try and avoid with like social media and content and stuff is complaining too much about the negatives of the industry. I think that's quite that case with the IWC ads is quite funny. So it's funny. Yeah, as you're right, it's quite funny to to some people, but not to others. But I think there's a bit of a trend at the moment of complaining about, especially in the watch media space, about you know, oh, we support the brand so much, but they don't support us. We write about it, but it's very hard for us to get paid by the brands and all that kind of stuff. But I think honestly, I'm just happy to be here and be a part of the conversation. And I'm not expecting, like, I'm not doing it to get, notoriety or make a ton of money or anything like that. I just want to be involved in the conversation. And I think, yeah, some people like I've also had feedback that I'm too positive, in my writing. Um, but like, it's just that old thing where it's like, oh, my mother always used to say, if I don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Um, I just don't see any value in me saying, oh, this watch just got released. It's crap for these reasons, 1, 2, and 3. Like
Mhm.
what is that contributing to the conversation? Nothing.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. There's watches that I don't like, but I don't need to shout it from the rooftops because this is such a subjective thing. Like the watches that I don't like, you might love, and you know, I'm not going to waste my time and my energy writing about stuff that I'm not interested in or anything like that. So yes, I
Okay,
am overly
I get
positive
that.
in how I
Yeah.
write. But like as I said before, it's impossible not to be biased. So I think people that say they have an unbiased publication are not telling the truth. you
Yeah.
know, if that makes sense.
Definitely, yes.
Um, yeah.
So, one thing I would like to ask you, where do the listeners find you on social media?
Mm. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. It's just at the Subdial.
Okay.
Um, the my YouTube channel is just the Subdial, so it's pretty
Right,
simple.
it's easy to find. And the
Yeah.
website is the subdial.com, right?
Yep, the subdial.com, super easy. Jump on there. I've got a newsletter on there as well. I think I should have mentioned that before as well for my growth strategy. I really like having direct access to people to avoid the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. So I've got the newsletter on there that I'm talking constantly, and the newsletter is somewhere that if I have a thought or an idea about watches or the industry or people or whatever, I'll put it in there.
And not as an article.
Not if it's too small to be an article, I'll pop it in there. Like I'll do. Usually, in my newsletter has a couple of my recent articles, but then a few thoughts or some
See, these
ideas.
thoughts
Or,
you can put out on LinkedIn. Anyway,
yeah,
if
you're
you-
right. Yeah, I need to do that. Because I think you're right. Some ideas are too short for a full article, but also too long for an Instagram reel or something like that. But yeah, so you can just jump on my website and there's plenty of links on there that will show you how to sign up for that newsletter. It's probably the best place to listen to my constant, barrage of thoughts and ideas and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's all I've got at the moment. I'm not on TikTok or anything. I don't plan on being on TikTok, to be honest. It's just there's too much already. Yeah, but that's it.
Okay. Maybe before we end the episode here, would you like to share something with the listeners or?
I think I think my whole philosophy is the watches are supposed to be fun, so I think we should treat it that way, and I think sometimes we take it a little bit too seriously. Like we focus on like resale value and who's got the best pieces and blah 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 blah. But I think let's all relax a little bit and take ourselves less seriously and have a bit of fun and have make some jokes and really enjoy what we have. Enjoy this industry because it's an incredible industry. There's so much history and to discover, and I think if we're all a little bit too uptight, it just makes it so much less enjoyable for everyone. So let's all relax, let's all be friends, and let's have fun together.
Thank you, Mitch.
Oh, good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join our community, the Chronedo Circle. Sign up for free at chronedo.com/community. In the Chronedo Circle, you'll get exclusive giveaways, limited promotions from my podcast guests, and access to community chats where you can connect with other entrepreneurs and watch enthusiasts. Does that sound interesting for you? Then head over to chronedo.com/community and sign up for free. Stay tuned, more episodes with exciting guests are on the way. See you in the next episode, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and YouTube. I appreciate that. Thanks.